CTV News at 5 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks so much for being with us on this Monday, January 5th. A man wanted by Greater Sudbury Police was arrested Saturday and found to be carrying nearly $3,500 in drugs. Police seized what is believed to be cocaine, crystal meth, magic mushrooms, and fentanyl. Police were conducting proactive patrols in the area and saw the man, who was wanted for breaching a conditional sentence. The 42-year-old is facing 4 trafficking charges, among other drug-related offenses. More snow today for communities in our region. Will the precipitation continue, or is the cold going to mark a return? For more weather details, let's bring in CTV's Rick Wyman. Rick.
Tony, I'm happy to say, out with the cold. We've got some warmer weather, as I've been saying all along for the beginning of this week. Our systems map brought to you by CAA. Get your membership today at caa.ca. Looking pretty good right now. We've got a few flurries in the forecast, some light snow, but no serious precipitation. We've got some warmer temperatures and even the possibility of rain, some sleet, some showers or flurries a little bit later on in the week. So a drastic change from the very cold nights and cold days. As you like to say, Tony, we're shifting gears this week. Details coming up with the 5-day forecast.
Good to hear. Thanks, Rick. There was a heavy police presence today in Iroquois Falls. In a social media post, provincial police asked the public to steer clear of police in the community because of an ongoing investigation. Just before 2 p.m., they said officers were still on scene, but the heavy presence had concluded. Details are limited, but we're continuing to follow this story. OPP say an incident in Larder Lake Township has been resolved peacefully. Around 6 yesterday morning, police were called to a residence to execute a warrant. The person barricaded themselves inside the home and verbally threatened police. The situation was resolved with the 79-year-old man surrendering to officers. Greater Sudbury Police arrested 4 people Friday after a weapons complaint in the community of Capriol. Police were called to Denny Street around 1 a.m. Friday after someone was said to have pulled a gun during an altercation. The suspects fled before police arrived, going into a residence. Police were able to get 3 of the 4 suspects out by noon. The 4th person finally came out around 4 p.m. For more of this story, go to our website, CTV News Northern Ontario.ca. Public Health Sudbury and districts released data from the Community Drug Strategy on Drug Toxicity Surveillance. CTV's Madison Merrier has more.
The Community Drug Strategy released data from January to October of 2025, indicating a slight decrease in drug toxicity deaths.
Local data suggests that from January 2025 to October 2025, there have been 102 drug-related deaths. In comparison to the same period, so 2024, January to October, we saw 117 people that have died from a suspected drug poisoning.
Rezo Access Network said a decline in overdose deaths alone does not mean the crisis is improving. It highlights the urgent need to strengthen integrated responses in Northern Ontario, including harm reduction.
Healthcare is the #1 responsibility of a provincial government, and right now they are failing. They failed 102 people in the first 10 months of this year, and they fail, as I said, an average of 2 people every single week in our community.
We still have a long way to go. Substance use was increasing since around 2005, though not as quickly. Given it has been a concern for 20 years in the making now, this sadly may take quite some time to undo.
Some feel that 1 death is still too many, and Kayla Pellin said, mortality data tells us who is dying. It does not tell us how many are suffering, nor how preventable that suffering truly is.
The numbers are still way too high. Am I happy it's going down? Yes, but it's still way too high. We have at least 2 people every single week die in our community of preventable death.
I think it's important to recognize that each number does represent a human being.
Over the past 3 years, over 20,000 doses of naloxone were distributed over Manitoulin Island in Sudbury area to help lessen deaths that both government employees and frontline workers agree are preventable. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
Fire crews in Sault Ste. Marie are warning the public to make sure vents are cleared of snow and that there are working carbon monoxide detectors in your home. The warning comes after a CO alarm went off at a residential building on Wellington Street East, where crews had to evacuate the building. One person was sent to hospital. Crews discovered snow-blocking exterior vents of the structure. Carbon monoxide detectors are required by law in Ontario as of January 1st for all single-dwelling homes with fuel-burning appliances, fireplaces, or attached garages. Every floor of the home is required to have one, and if there are bedrooms, the detectors must be adjacent to the sleeping areas. They are also mandatory in apartment buildings, condos, and retirement homes. A detector must be installed in each suite heated from a fuel-burning appliance and in common areas, including hallways on each floor of the building. It's time for a quick break. Coming up on CTV News at 5. Rick has your full weather forecast. But first, let's head to North Bay and a live webcam of Worthington Street, courtesy of the City of North Bay. It's minus 10 degrees. We're back in a few minutes.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Good news for the first full week of January 2026. Big change in weather, some warmer temperatures and conditions as well will change. Forecast radar as issued by Environment Canada. Some flurries working its way through the system into tomorrow as well, with some periods of snow, but nothing significant. Let's take a look at the scoreboard now for the next couple of days. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Sudbury Nickel Belt, light snow in the forecast for tomorrow. Also, the risk of freezing drizzle, -2 your high, -2 on Wednesday. Chance of flurries, 1 degree on Thursday with cloud cover. Friday, chance of sleet at 0, so flurries or showers. Chance of flurries on Saturday. Things start to cool down a bit with a high of -4. Meanwhile, in Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, chance of light snow tomorrow at 60%, 0 your high, 0 on Wednesday. Chance of flurries, 3 degrees on Thursday. Some sun and cloud, you'll love that day. Friday, chance of sleet at 40%, 2 degrees, and -3 on the cool down Saturday with the chance of flurries. So a nice variation of temperatures. It's about time we get some warmer weather. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, light snow tomorrow, -3. Some cloud cover on Wednesday, -6. Then it gets warmer Thursday, sunshine and 0. Who would have thought? Friday, chance of flurries, -4, and -8 comes Saturday with the chance of flurries. Even your evening temperatures are bearable. Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, chance of light snow at 60% tomorrow, -2. -3 on Wednesday, chance of flurries. 0 Thursday, that's sun and cloud. I like it. Chance of sleet Friday at 60%, showers or flurries, a high of 0. And a -4 comes Saturday with the chance of flurries. And a look now at North Bay, West Nipissing. Some sun and cloud for tomorrow. And again, it's -14, -15 Wednesday. Thursday, we've got -6 and -2 on Friday. Things warming up. And Saturday, we've got -4 degrees, some cloud cover in the forecast. So things are going to change. And yes, we'll take a look at the scoreboard, our 7-day forecast, and a lot more coming up, Tony, next hour as well. But some warmer temperatures coming to the Northeast. Back to you.
Thanks so much for that, Rick. Job seekers in Ontario are going to have more information about the position they are applying for thanks to new laws that came into effect New Year's Day. CTV's Eric Tashner breaks it down for us.
Leanne Maley, the CEO of Yes Employment Services, says new laws in effect to increase transparency about available jobs is a welcome sign.
It's a goodwill thing, and it's a good relationship building with your future employee.
The laws now make it mandatory for publicly posted jobs to include the expected salary or compensation range. According to the province, the range must not exceed $50,000. Maley says pay transparency will increase competition in the marketplace.
It's only fair. People need to know whether this is a wage they can live off of.
Employers are exempt from disclosing the amount if the expected salary is equivalent to or more than $200,000 a year. Employers are also going to be prohibited from requiring what's called Canadian experience in the job posting, meant to create objectivity around what the job actually requires.
Yes, you can ask employers not to require Canadian work experience, but how are you going to keep them from filtering out those candidates after the applications come in?
And how will these new laws be enforced?
The Employment Standards Act is very clear that there's officers that either can do spot checks or there can be complaints. There's no fines set yet for this, but the fines can be very high.
A company must now also disclose whether artificial intelligence is used during the application vetting process.
As in any automated system, bias can be embedded in those systems. As much as AI can make your life easier, are you making sure that it doesn't screen out great candidates?
Other laws in effect include job postings should say whether they're for a current vacancy. If a candidate is interviewed, employers are required to inform them within 45 days after the interview.
This is brand new ground, and I think we're all learning a lot every day.
Only companies that employ more than 25 people are required to follow the new job posting rules. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
The winter storm that blew through the Northeast last week caused major problems for travelers, both by road and by air. In fact, the weather caused a 4-day disruption at the Sault Ste. Marie Airport. We get more from CTV's Angela Gemmell.
Operations are just now getting back to normal at the Sault Ste. Marie Airport after Old Man Winter wreaked havoc on holiday travel plans.
We had all our equipment out. We had guys on overtime, working almost around the clock. So it wasn't for a lack of effort, I can tell you that.
The CEO for the airport says high winds prevented crews from spraying the usual liquid chemical to de-ice runways and aircrafts. Because Sault is too corrosive, a combination of sand and sweepers were used to clear the ice. But the delay meant about 50 flights over 4 days were cancelled, impacting an estimated 500 passengers. Out of the 4 airports in the Northeast, Boss says the Sault was hit hardest.
We were getting it way worse than everybody almost every day last week. So I think our location, obviously close to the water, the winds come off there, the lake affects snow. My counterpart sent me the weather updates where Sudbury, Timmins, and North Bay all had 20 kilometers visibility and we had 200 meters.
60 centimeters of snow blanketed Timmins last week. The manager of the Timmins airport says keeping one runway open was a priority, which meant just 1 day of flights were impacted. But he adds they didn't see the same level of ice or wind as the Sault.
We have equivalent number of people and equipment, and we all keep going. And through the stats, they're still working through Christmas and Boxing Day and right into that storm and through New Year's Day. So all my crews did a really good job to keep things open. I've been here 16 years, and the locals here tell me they haven't seen anything like this in 50 years.
The reps for both airports say they're still cleaning up. But the challenge now is finding space to put not just the snow from last week's storm, but any more that falls this winter. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
The need is certainly there. Coming up on CTV News at 5, fundraising efforts in Sudbury to help stock the shelves and feed the hungry. Fundraising efforts are ongoing for food banks in our region as many people struggle with food insecurity. In Sudbury, the Inner City Home is doing its part to raise money to keep its food bank operating. CTV's Alan Everson tells us more.
I just want to win. Board members with the Inner City Home of Sudbury are on hand at a local grocery store, selling the Knights of Columbus cash calendar.
You can win $50 every day of the year. Not necessarily you, but you know, you got a chance to win that. And at the end of the month, there's larger prizes. It could be $200, $500, and on December 31st, I believe the price is $1,000.
The proceeds from the cash calendar will help the food bank operate in 2026 by raising $60,000.
The arrangement we have now, that for every cash dollar we receive, we can triple our buying power. So $60,000 times 3 gives us an opportunity to feed an awful lot of people.
Officials at the Inner City Food Bank, located on Elm Street with another one in New Sudbury, say they are seeing a spike in all ages needing food and other basic needs items.
You go shopping for yourself, what do you buy, right? You buy, hand cream, and you buy toothpaste and a toothbrush. People are so pinched financially that they need those things, and so we are able to supply some of them.
Babcock says there are more people with no fixed address, needing food assistance and help with other basic needs.
We do serve individuals who are homeless as well, and our percentage of individuals spiked considerably from 4% to 14% back in the fall.
The inner city home of Sudbury also has another big fundraiser coming up, January 15th at the Caruso Club. Tickets are still available for the Taste of Sudbury event, featuring many local food vendors and restaurants. Alana Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
The hockey world lost one of its more impactful voices yesterday. Longtime Ontario Hockey League Commissioner David Branch passed away at the age of 77. The Bathurst, New Brunswick native spent 45 years heading up the Ontario Hockey League from 1979 until his retirement in 2024. Branch helped shape major junior hockey in Canada, working to enhance player development and education opportunities. His introduction of the OHL scholarship program ensured players coming through the league would have access to post-secondary education. His legacy has been commemorated with awards that bear his name, and his contributions to Canadian hockey were formally recognized in 2016 when he received the Order of Hockey in Canada. It's time for our weekend wrap-up in the OHL. The Sudbury Wolves opened the weekend strong with a 6-2 victory over the North Bay Battalion Friday night. The Northern rivals would have a rematch Sunday afternoon in North Bay, where the Battalion would have a better showing, winning that one 5-2. The Sioux Greyhounds were on the road Saturday in Saginaw. The Spirit would dazzle the hometown crowd, downing the Hounds 5-3. The OHL trade deadline is just days away. Two of Sudbury's top scorers are headed south after a major trade deal announced this morning. Alex Ferrand and Nathan Villeneuve have been moved to the Windsor Spitfires in a deal that includes 8 draft picks and forward Jean-Christophe Lemieux. The North Bay Battalion were also making moves today. They picked up Sebastian Gervais and Hayden Barch from the Saginaw Spirit in exchange for 5 draft picks. Both players were part of the Memorial Cup winning Spirit team from last season and are expected to add depth and experience to the Battalion lineup. The NOJHL back in action this weekend after a 2-week holiday break. The Timmins Rock picked up a win Sunday to edge closer to the Sudbury Cubs, while the Espanola Paper Kings littered the French River Rapids yesterday to stay in the mix with the Thunderbirds and Voodoos. The bottom half of the standings remains unchanged as play resumes with 9 games lined up for this week. A gymnastics club that has served Sudbury athletes for 4 decades is folding its mats for the last time. As CTV's Amanda Hicks tells us, while the pandemic forced the club to dissolve, its legacy is helping others.
It was a really hard decision.
Since the 1980s, Sudbury Sault Gymnastics saw athletes of all ages and backgrounds train side by side. But after 40 years, the club's former president says the pandemic's toll became too much to bear.
I know other parents had been there much longer than me, and they had done so much work fundraising. To just have it all end, it was very sad to see.
The club was hit hard by a 2-year pandemic shutdown, eventually losing its facility. It's a struggle felt across the city. The Sudbury Laurels, run in conjunction with Gym Zone, says the gap in training during COVID-19 created a massive hurdle in keeping qualified staff.
I think for many youth sport organizations, it's been difficult to train staff with that year. Like, there's that usual turnover that we see, but it was nearly impossible to train staff because it takes months, years to get to a certain level. So it's been hard to replenish those, key people or like those more senior roles, but we're getting there now.
Chamberlain says the remaining funds from Sudbury Salto have been donated to the Sudbury Laurels and Extreme North, the 2 not-for-profit gymnastics clubs left in the North.
We're doing a lot more competitions this year. We're doing actually 7 competitions, and it's a lot of money goes into having the coaches their accommodations and food and travel, so that's a big expense.
Invest in some key equipment pieces as well to continue innovating their training environment and enhancing that. So yeah, that it's a safe, amazing training space.
Salto's equipment has also been distributed to local clubs to ensure the spirit of the club lives on in the next generation of athletes. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
Pure Country Catch-Up. When we return, we see what our cousins are up to. You're watching First at 5.
Well, we are Josh and Coop from Pure Country Mornings in Sudbury, and the last couple of weeks I've had this cardboard cutout with me because Josh has been off enjoying his Christmas holidays with time with friends and family. Lots of big country music stories, especially in the Canadian country music world. Jess Moskalouk, yes, who's been to Sudbury a few times, she just announced that she's expecting, which is super, super exciting, right? Cardboard cutout, Josh. Also, Tyler Joe Miller, he recently got engaged. That happened in the last couple of weeks. And Jelly Roll, he's not a Canadian country artist, but we do play him quite a bit on our station. He just appeared on the cover of Men's Health, a magazine actually. This guy and his health journey has been amazing to follow. He's lost so much. I thought you were a cutout. I was going to try to... Okay.
What are they making these things out of?
I thought you were my cutout. What happened?
We're back!
Oh, he's back! That's so cool.
After the holidays, Pure Country Mornings is back up to full strength. And yes, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I really had to blink.
That scared me.
But don't forget, you can listen to Pure Country Mornings anytime online, purecountry917.ca, or completely free on the iHeartRadio app.
Our first community close-up comes to us from just outside of Sundridge. Rod Cosby sent us these photographs of turkeys in his backyard that were spotted just before Christmas. He says they found his bird feeders and just helped themselves. Thanks so much, Rod. We are off to Swastika community near Kirkland Lake. Raymond Bourgeois emailed us some pictures of a beautiful sunset. She says, what an awesome sight. We agree. Thanks so much, Raymond. And there's more news for the North coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, continue watching as we hand things over to CTV National News.